Hello there everybody and welcome back to Totem Tuesday. I do apologise for last week, the lack of Totem Tuesday. It's no excuse really, but it was my birthday and there's a lot going on last week, so unfortunately it just didn't happen. And maybe I'll do two in the next week or so to catch up. But I thought anyway, sometimes it's better to leave it for a week and be really inspired and full of information when you do a Totem Tuesday rather than just kind of cramming one in for the sake of it. And this week I hopefully am full of information and inspired. This is the animal that I was thinking about last week anyway, for a few reasons, for the time of year that it is, and also because we went to Avebury last week on my birthday and to look at the white horse nearby as well, and we were thinking quite a lot about the chalk white horses on the hills over the chalk land of Britain, especially not too far from Avebury, about 18 miles away, the Uffington white horse, which I went and sat in a couple of years ago and was a really powerful and beautiful place. Now, to look at the horse as a totem, you could probably write a book on its own just about the horse. No other animal has given so much to civilization, perhaps maybe from the cow, but no other animal has actually given so much expansion, freedom and potential to expand civilization, perhaps as the horse. The horse being introduced to Native America changed the whole landscape of how tribes worked, and horses in Europe have been signs of nobility and signs of wealth for a very long time. A few key words to sum up the horse as a totem. In Gaelic, the horse is called Etch or Each, E-A-C-H, and it represents the goddess, the land, travelling, journeying, fertility, energy and speed, to name but a few, and there'll be a few more lists of meanings coming up in this video. Because you ride a horse, the horse is the totem which helps you travel through the realms, the totem which helps you journey either adventuring in this world, so travelling, adventuring and exploring and expanding your own personal horizons, or in the spiritual world, journeying, meditating, exploring, and particularly shamanic journeying. So people with the horse as their totem may be interested in shamanic practice and shamanic journeying. The horse has represented all the life cycles, represents the land, the earth, and also the sun. There's a couple of solar gods whose chariots are pulled across the sky by the horse, and that includes Surya, the sun god, and also, that's in Hindu tradition, and also Apollo in the Greek tradition, to the stallion that carries the sun, the chariot across the sun. So there's a couple of links with gods, but the main, especially in Celtic and European tradition, the main links with the horse are goddesses. There's probably goddesses you might have heard of. Epona, she's originally a Gaulish goddess, and the name Epona is where the word pony comes from. Her cult was so big, it maybe started in Gaul, but it spread well into England, well into Britain, and also as far east as Bulgaria. So Epona became a major cult and a major goddess that was worshipped in England. The Welsh horse goddess is Rhiannon. You may well have heard of Rhiannon also. And in Ireland, there's a couple of horse goddesses, but the main ones are Macha and Itain. You can link Ain with, or Anya, sorry, with horse as well. But Macha, for me, is the main Irish goddess that I link with horses. I've been to Emain Macha, the fort of Macha in Ireland, and it's a very, very powerful place. Now, Macha is one of the aspects of the Morrigan or the Morrigu, and she is a horse goddess, and she is very much venerated in the area of Emain Macha. And the story goes that a nobleman saw Macha, not knowing that she was a goddess, bathing one day, fell in love with her. She didn't really say that she was a goddess. They kind of fell in love. She apparently could run really, 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 really fast. That was what, but she said, don't tell anyone that I run this fast. I can just run really fast. One day she was, they lived happily together for a while. She was very heavily pregnant, and they went to see the king. And the king was having all these races and all these events going on. And the husband foolishly boasted, "Oh, my wife, she can outrun all your horses." The king, being very, how very dare he say that, said, "Right, well, your wife must race all my horses." Now, let's say she was about to give birth. She was heavily, heavily, heavily pregnant. So he couldn't get out of it. He said, or something very bad would have happened to him if she didn't do it. He would have been killed or something like that. So, as a good wife and a bit of a goddess who was getting a bit annoyed at the whole scenario, I said, "Yes, I will race all your horses." And with the pains of a mother who was just about to give birth, she did race all her horses, race all the horses, and she did, through pain and agony, beat all the horses. She beat them all. She ran really fast, and I think she gave birth just at the finishing line, and said that their sons would be, she was laying a curse on this place, on the country, and all the warrior who very dared make a goddess run, or made a woman run when she was just about to give birth. And she put on them the curse of, you will feel the pains of a woman who's about to give birth when you're needed most. And for many years afterwards, when they were needed for battle, all the warriors were completely helpless, because guess what? The guys couldn't handle it, and they couldn't handle the pain of of childbirth. So every time they needed for battle, they were just completely in a fever. They couldn't handle it, they couldn't battle. So that was one of the curses of Mecca. And that's a very condensed version. There's a fuller version, of course, you can read. But that's just the idea of the horse goddess Mecca. She's the goddess of mares and the goddess of life and birth and death, which you'll find that Epona and Rhiannon are as well. They're the goddesses of the three cycles of life: birth, death, and the afterlife. At around Beltane, the energy we're coming up to fairly shortly, you'll find that the energy of the horse was to bring life into the world, and the horse goddesses would bring life into the world at this time. The energy was about fertility, and there's stallions and studs, and this is the time, Beltane, of stallions and studs, the fertility of that frenzied sexuality, and life, and just that beautiful sunshine, gorgeous, wake up, life's coming energy. And at the opposite end of the year, Samhain, which is in October, which is Halloween now, the horse goddess and the horses would take the souls of the dead to the afterlife, where they could rest, in summer lands or wherever, where they could rest and be renewed. So yes, at this time of year, Beltane, well, it's not Maytime yet, but almost there, she would bring the energy, the goddess horses would bring energy of life into the world, and at Samhain she would take the life, or take the souls, to the afterworld. Now, our ancestors wouldn't have seen the afterworld or death as being as terrifying as maybe we do now, so it wasn't quite a thing to be scared of. It was a very much an honourable job to take souls to the summer lands, the afterlife, for their journey, their final journey in this lifetime. So she brought the journey of life, now the journey of death. Of course, as time goes on, and fear of death and fear of all these things came to be prevalent, you get the idea of the nightmares, the phantom horses, the ghost horses with terrifying hooves, who will take the souls to hell, or take them to the afterlife. So that's kind of a ruined version of what would have happened with the horse goddesses. So the word nightmare, the thundering hooves of night, the phantom horses to be afraid of, will they take you to the afterlife? The word nightmare comes from that. That's one of the ideas anyway. So for a long time, the horse has been exceptionally sacred. Can you imagine the first, how people would have got by without horses? They wouldn't have been able to expand their horizons. They wouldn't have been able to lift out of the mundane. They wouldn't have been able to travel far. So horses did represent exploration and freedom of the spirit. You could go wherever you wanted. The horse is tamed but never truly subdued. The spirit of the horse is always strong. So to gain a relationship with the horse is very powerful. A respectful relationship to the horse is very powerful, because this is, if you have to break in a horse, if you have to tame a horse, it's about getting that respect and that relationship and that trust. So the element of the horse being linked to the land as well. As I said earlier, you'll find horses carved into the landscape around the chalk hills of Britain. the horse was an animal of the land. It represented fertility, represented life and death, we've just mentioned, and also of the sun, so renewal. So to honour the horse, as I said, the horses was often carved into the earth to renewal and to bring the fertility of the goddess onto the land, to honour Epona or Rhiannon or Macha of the land. The horse often represented nobility as well. The king in Ireland, there was a link to the king kind of being linked to a white mare, which would represent see the white horses again, the sovereignty of the land. The king's sort of not marriage but union with the white horse would have meant that his promise to serve authentically the land and to serve justly the land. So in the old days when, if you had to rule the land, you had to earn it, unlike in these days, you would have been forfeit. Your life would have been forfeit. If you messed up, you'd honoured your life to the land, to the goddess, and if you really messed up, then you would be sacrificed. You would be forfeited. That's the kind of energy. It was just a ritual ceremony, but that's what the king would be expected to do. Nobility has always been a link with the horses, so to have a horse represented you having wealth, having success. That's here in Europe and also Native America, where horses were very highly prized, as I mentioned, when they were introduced by the white people. The only good thing maybe they did to Native Americans is to introduce the horses. Everything else really wasn't that great. But horses became very prized with the tribes in Native America. So let's have a look here what else we've got. Two warriors, the horse goddesses, Epona, Rhiannon, and all the other horse goddesses that we mentioned would have been a protectress. So going to battle, the horse goddesses would have been worn as charms or saluted as you go into battle to protect you. To the average civilian, there would have been the fertile, abundant goddess. There's images of Epona feeding foals as the land is filled with bounty. So that's how they saw that the nurturing, the birth of life. Also pictures of Epona and Rhiannon and Macha taking the souls away again, as I mentioned earlier. So this would have been, the cycles of life would have been respected by people who worked with horse energy. And you've got also not only horses, but you've got the more mythical animals of unicorns, the more ethereal energy of unicorns. And unicorns are the more, I suppose, spiritually evolved energy. We've got the horn from the third eye, representing evolved clairvoyance, spirituality, insight, a gentleness of spirit, a gentleness of soul. Unicorn energy really resonates with the heart chakra of pure love and pure open-heartedness and a real healing. People who work with unicorn as a totem may be healers or work in that way of clairvoyance, because horse in itself has a great energy of clairvoyance, and there's many myths about the horse being clairvoyant. It has that sixth sense a lot of animals have, knowing when there's danger, knowing when weather's going to change. And so the unicorn is a very heightened energy with that, and a very pure heightened energy. So people who are working with horse as a totem may also want to look to meditate on the idea of unicorn as a totem as well. Let's have a look. What else did I write down about horses? Oh yeah, well, today we even use the power that horses had on warfare, on transport, on moving around is still respected in the way that we say a car's engine is called horsepower as well. Odin had a horse who had 8 legs that travelled around, and so there's a superior horse. He wasn't just riding any old horse. His horse had 8 legs, which could take him faster, could take him further, and take him deeper into the spiritual worlds. For us mere mortals, to ride a horse brings a sense of flying, a sense of freedom, a sense of being above. It's a skill to be mastered. It's not something that's particularly easy sometimes. The horses have and it gives the person the relationship of realising the horses have a mind of their own. So we have to be very much respectful that horses have a mind of their own and need to be honoured and not try to be completely and utterly tamed. It's a feeling of flying for a lot of people, and that's been thought of as the only way that we get to fly along the earth. You often see that with the waves, when the waves crash into the sea, that the foam is often seen as white horses crashing. So that really wild, powerful energy is also linked with the horse. Now, to bring it back to this modern day and age, so our ancestors had a heck of a lot of respect for the horse. horses were sometimes eaten. I think particularly in Gaul, I think horses were eaten. But I feel like on a whole, they were very much respected. They were good luck. They were sacred to the goddess and sacred to the land. So, you know, that holds still today, where we hang horseshoes on our front doors to ward off bad luck and to attract good luck. So horses were so much thought of as good luck. They were so honoured, respected, and they were thought of as sacred. So where are we today? We are today where many things that were honoured as sacred have been discounted, have been like, whatever, this is just a means to an end for humans. And I think it's very, very important to bring back the respect, the dignity and the sacredness of horses to our culture. Things like the Grand National, where, yeah, horse racing has been a big part of culture forever, but not to make the races so bad that many horses break their leg, many horses have heart attacks from the immense amount of training. This is far, far too much and goes well beyond respect and proving your horse. It just goes into the land of cruelty. So things like the Grand National need to be altered, if not, in my opinion, cease to be, because there's no respect. There's no real, genuine respect. They're just a means to an end for these people. Even if they do like the horses, they're not putting them. They're putting them through an actual horrific experience. And remember what happened when Macca got annoyed. You know, don't push the horses too far. Also, you know, to be what's going on at the moment in the UK with the horse meat scandal, you know, it just shows another lack of respect for animals in general. It's not just the horse, because obviously the way that slaughterhouses work, a lot of the animals that were sacred to the land are being completely mistreated. Yes, I'm not suggesting you don't eat meat. Animals have always been, you know, have been food for humans. Now, but where is the respect? Where is the giving back? Where is the, okay, we respect that we're taking this animal's life? It's gone. It's just a horrible, soulless means to an end. So I feel it's really important at this time, when horses are being treated like disposable, soulless creatures, that we remember and honour the beauty, wisdom, sacredness and power of the horse. Thank you very much for watching my Totem Tuesday, which ended in a rant. I'm sorry again for last week for not being a video. I'll try and be a little bit more on it so we can catch up with the videos. The next few animals I'm going to be talking about, because I know there's been some requests, will be owls and cats. They'll be the next one. There's also been requests for magpies, and magpies will come up too, and many other requests as well that I'll be looking at in the near future. Thank you for watching. Do all the usual. If you've enjoyed the video, do subscribe, like and share. Also put your comments and your stories below, and I will see you next week. Thank you. Bye.